everyone. This is Mrs. Martin, and I'm getting ready to travel to 3 different places. Have you ever wanted to travel to another country or even to another universe? Well, that is what I'm getting ready to do. I have my suitcase packed and I have my passport. This summer, I read 3 great books, and they are The Liar's Girl by Catherine Ryan Howard, and this story takes place in Dublin, Ireland. The second book is The Akata Witch by Nnedi Okorafor. This story takes place in Nigeria. The last book is Strange the Dreamer by Lanai Taylor. This story is in the mythic city of Weep. They have inspired me so much that I'm actually going to visit the places that these stories took place in. I have to go now. My plane is getting ready to take off for Ireland. See you when I land. Wow, that was a really long flight, and I am really tired. Here we are at the setting of our first book. Behind me is the Grand Canal in Dublin, Ireland, where 5 bodies were found. Do you like a good mystery? If you do, The Liar's Girl by Catherine Ryan Howard is for you. The story begins with a girl named Allison who applies to St. John's College. It is her first choice of colleges. She gets into the college, but her best friend Liz doesn't, and they had big plans of going to college together and sharing the dorms with each other. St. John's is an elite college in Dublin, which is a big change from the small town that they grow up in called Cork. Eventually, both girls are going to St. John's, but they have been waitlisted for the dorms. Because of this, they visit Dublin to look at different places to live near campus. They do get into the dorms eventually, but just before the school year begins. Everything is going well. She lives in the dorms with her best friend, and she meets a boy named Will in a pub during Freshers Week. There is an instant connection between Allison and Will. Will is her first real love. He is the person that she can see a future with. Allison's world comes to an abrupt halt when Liz, her best friend, becomes the 5th victim of the canal killer, and her boyfriend Will confesses to the killing of all 5 girls. He is sentenced to life in prison and ends up locked away in the city's psychiatric hospital. To escape the drama and embarrassment of the situation, Allison leaves Ireland and goes to the Netherlands. She finishes college there and starts a new life. 10 years later, the killings begin again, and Will claims that he is not the canal killer. The police want to question him further, but he will only talk to Allison, who he thinks can help him. Officer Malone finds Allison in the Netherlands and tries to convince her to talk to Will. She eventually agrees to go back to Ireland to talk to Will. Allison and Officer Malone go on a search to find a mysterious person in a red hat and to find out the truth about the canal killer. Is Will the original killer, and now there is a copycat killer on the loose, or was he innocent the whole time? To find out who the killer is, you will have to read the book. You can either read the book or you can listen to it on an audiobook. Now, we're off to Nigeria. In Nigeria, there is a group of people called the Leopard People. They have magical powers and must keep their powers hidden from the Lambs. Lambs are people that do not have magical powers. Does this sound familiar to you? Our main character is Sunny. Sunny is a 12-year-old girl that was born in New York. When Sunny is 9 years old, her family moves back to Nigeria. This causes some problems for Sunny because Sunny is an albino. All she wants to do is play football, or soccer as we call it, and get through one day of school without being bullied. Sunny becomes friends with a boy named Orlu. He introduces her to his friend Chi-Chi and to Sasha, an American boy living with him for a while. During Sunny's initiation to become one of the leopard people, she finds out that she is a free agent. This means that neither of her parents are one of the leopard people. They are lambs. The four of them embark on a journey to improve their powers. They are assigned well-known scholars to be their mentors. Towards the middle of the book, the four friends go to a festival where Sunny gets her juju knife. This knife picks her to be its owner. The knife allows her to do certain magic. Behind me is the Abaju marketplace in Nigeria. This is the marketplace where Sunny gets her juju knife. As their journey continues, they face a danger in the form of a person called the Black Cat, who Sunny's grandmother trained. He is named that because he draws black hats on his victims with ink that is hard to remove. Will these four friends survive the ordeal? If you want to find out if they do, read this book. A special note about the book is that the author frequently includes excerpts from the book that Sunny has to read, titled Fast Facts for Free Agents. Are you a Harry Potter fan? If so, you will enjoy the book The Akata Witch by Nnedi Okorafor. There is even a sequel titled The Akata Warrior. I know I can't wait to read the sequel. If you choose to listen to the audiobook, the narrator has an African accent which connects you to the story. Now we're off to a new world. We are going to the mythical city of Weep. Of course, we can't fly there, but we can use our imaginations. The book Strange the Dreamer by Lonnie Taylor is about the adventures of Laszlo Strange. Laszlo is a dreamer. He was orphaned as a baby. All orphans at that time were given the last name of Strange. When he is found by monks, his skin was a grayish color. They thought he was sickly. But with plenty of food and rest, his skin becomes a normal color. This isn't really important when he is young, but it is a hint to what he becomes later. Growing up, Laszlo is obsessed with the story about a mythical city referred to as Weep. As he grows up in an abbey, he learns to copy text but not to read. Reading is for scholars, and Laszlo is no scholar. One day, he is sent to the great library of Zosma to deliver some manuscripts. This is a lucky break for Laszlo. He never leaves the library and becomes a librarian there. This is when his adventures really begin. He finds various texts about the unseen city and teaches himself how to speak the language of the city. Then some mysterious warriors visit Zosma. The warriors are actually Tizer King warriors from his favorite story. They are recruiting scholars to help solve a problem in their city, which just happens to be Weep. Laszlo is invited to go because he speaks their language and they enjoy listening to the stories he tells. The story is also about what happens after a war between men and gods. The men win, and the gods' children are slaughtered. A few children do survive. Once the group arrives at the city, it is obvious what the problem is. I'm not going to tell you what the problem is, because where's the fun in that? When Laszlo goes to sleep, he is visited by a beautiful blue-skinned girl every night. He falls in love with her. But who is she? Where did she come from? And more importantly, is she real? If you want to find out if Laszlo solves the city's problem or finds out who the mysterious girl is, you will need to read the book. And if you really like this book, there is a sequel titled Muse of Nightmares. Well, it's time to go now. I hope you've enjoyed these 3 locations. I've had fun. If you found these books interesting, visit your local library and check them out. They were The Liar's Girl by Catherine Ryan Howard, The Akata Witch by Nnedi Okorafor, and Strange the Dreamer by Lonnie Taylor.